President Donald Trump, Week in Review, April 12, 2025.
Darien Gap migration plummets amid crackdown. Panama's Ministry of Security reported a 99% drop in irregular migration through the Darien jungle by March 2025, reducing daily crossings from a 2023 peak of 520,000 to just 14. The notorious 575,000-hectare route, linking Colombia to Panama, once fueled by Venezuelans and others aiming for the U.S. generated $820 million for criminal networks. A regional crackdown involving Panama, Costa Rica, and the U.S. reversed the flow, deporting migrants south. 189 of 299 U.S. deportees chose voluntary return, 107 received humanitarian permits. Monthly arrivals fell to 4,849 by February, slashing Panama's $60 million aid costs and closing camps.
Trump approval rating up. President Donald Trump's job approval rating climbed from 49% to 53% during tariff week, according to a Daily Mail poll of over 1,000 registered voters conducted between March 31 and April 3. Young voters, 18 to 29, boosted approval by 13 points since March 7, with independents and Democrats up 6 points and black voters surging 17 points in a week. Tariffs on foreign countries garnered 39% support versus 37% opposition. Additionally, 69% backed significantly reducing illegal immigration, and 46% supported cutting legal immigration, against 26% opposed.
Supreme Court allows Trump deportations of alien gangs. The U.S. Supreme Court, in a 5-4 ruling, lifted a block by Judge James Boasberg, allowing the Trump administration to deport suspected illegal alien gang members under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. The narrow decision focused on venue, ruling the migrants' challenge in Washington, D.C. was improper since they were detained in Texas, not addressing the act's use itself. Attorney General Pam Bondi hailed it as a landmark victory, criticizing the D.C. judge's overreach and affirming the DOJ's commitment to public safety through continued legal battles.
Illegals face steep fines. The Trump administration plans to impose fines of up to $998 per day on migrants under deportation orders who remain in the U.S., pursuant to a 1996 law first enforced in 2018. Retroactive penalties could exceed $1 million over 5 years, with property seizure threatened for non-payment. DHS rebranded the CBP One app as CBP Home to facilitate self-deportation, warning of consequences via a March 31 social media post to self-deport and leave the country now. DHS also ended legal protections for over 900,000 entrants under the app, mandating immediate departure.
SCOTUS backs Trump on firings. The U.S. Supreme Court temporarily blocked a California District Court's March 13 injunction that aimed to reinstate federal workers fired under President Trump's revived Schedule F executive order. The lower ruling, favoring left-wing nonprofits, sought to protect bureaucrats from removal, undermining Trump's reform to curb obstructive federal employees. The Supreme Court's stay pauses the injunction pending appeal, arguing the plaintiffs lack standing for such broad relief. This preserves Trump's authority to streamline government by axing resistant bureaucrats, at least until further review.
Trump announces 125% tariff hike on China. On April 2, 2025, President Donald Trump announced a 125% tariff hike on China, effective immediately, citing its disrespect to global markets, aiming to end its exploitation of the U.S. and others. In a Truth Social post, he contrasted this with a 90-day tariff pause and a reduced 10% reciprocal tariff for over 75 countries that opted to negotiate rather than retaliate. These nations contacted U.S. departments like Commerce and Treasury to address trade barriers and currency issues. Trump framed the move as rewarding cooperation while punishing China's trade practices, effective immediately.
House passes bill to limit district judges' authority. On April 9, the House passed H.R. 1526, the No Rogue Rulings Act, which curbs federal district judges' power to issue broad injunctions, limiting orders to specific lawsuit parties, except in multi-state cases requiring 3-judge panels. Aimed at stopping activist judges, it aligns with President Trump's agenda, earning his endorsement. The Trump administration praised it for countering courts undermining executive authority. However, the bill faces slim Senate prospects, needing 7 Democratic votes alongside Republicans to pass.
Trump lowers consumer prices. U.S. consumer prices fell in March, the first drop in nearly 3 years since inflation accelerated under Joe Biden to the worst rates in decades. Consumer prices dropped 0.1%, driven by a 2.4% energy price drop, including 6.3% for gasoline, and marked a political win for Trump, who campaigned on lowering prices. Core prices, excluding food and energy, rose just 0.1%, below the expected 0.3%. Prices fell for airline fares, used cars, and smartphones, though food prices climbed, with groceries up 0.5%. Annual inflation hit 2.4%, the lowest since Biden's presidency in February 2021, with core inflation at 2.8%.
Trump Memo, Seal Border. President Trump issued a memorandum to the heads of Defense, Homeland Security, Interior, and Agriculture, expanding the U.S. military's role in securing the southern border per his executive order and national emergency declaration. Titled Military Mission for Sealing the Southern Border, it aims to repel unlawful entries, empower the Department of Defense to use federal lands for operations, barriers, and surveillance, and coordinate land transfers. The military will follow DoD rules of engagement with a 45-day plan to assess expansion. The move aligns with hemispheric defense, targeting cartel terrorists and economic integration amid record low February border apprehensions.